Why is there any information behind the coloring of the centers? Why are there 4 brown, 2 red, 2 yellow, and 1 green? Good question. All right, so I'll have to start first with the history of the colors of the centers, and then I'll have to tell you my theory, the world according to Karen. So when Ra received the information about the chart, it actually was a pretty intense part of the transmission from the voice, because the voice was pretty adamant that the chart had to look a certain way. And according to the story that Ra told, he was forced to draw and redraw and draw and redraw the chart for several days until he got the placement and the alignment correct, and until he got the colors correct. I have some questions about some of the parts of this story, because I heard the parts of the story a different way from Ra several different times. So there are variations on the Ra story. I'm not really sure why the colors are the way that they are. I will tell you that if we look at the science of color and the vibrational frequencies of color, and we look at archetypes and the relationship that archetypes have with color, and they do, especially if you correlate color to the Hindu chakra system. I personally believe that the correct coloration of the centers should be, the head center should be should be purple. The ajna should be indigo. The throat center should be sky blue. The G and the will should both be green. The emotional solar plexus and the spleen should be yellow. The sacral should be red, which it is, and the sacral should be orange, and the root center should be red, which none of those are aligned with how it looks in the chart. That's the correlations between the colors of the archetypes of the chakras and the centers. As you may remember back from I think the first video when we talked about the split in the chart, the heart chakra is associated with the G center and the will, so the green color, and the solar plexus mutation and the spleen, I have to do this in my head as I'm saying it, are both associated with the third chakra or the power chakra. That's my theory. And I will say that in some of the work that I've done, the research that I've done associated with my dissertation, one of the rabbit holes that I went down, and I didn't end up building my research study based on this information, but I do think it's very interesting, and it's actually something I'm unpacking in the Raise Your Vibration by Design program. If you have a trauma in a specific region associated with the archetypes related to the centers or the chakras, it can create actually an aversion to colors of light associated with the chakra or the archetypes associated with the chakra. So if you have, let's say, a trauma, we'll use the sacral center because that's an easy one. If you have a trauma that's maybe a sexual trauma, and you're still carrying it in your body and you're still reacting to it, you might actually find that you have an aversion to the color orange, that your body physiologically will actually react to the color orange, and that you can actually use phototherapy, light therapy, that can help you heal the trauma in that center. So I don't do phototherapy. That's something I find to be very, very cool and interesting. If you're interested in learning more about phototherapy, go look at the work of Jacob Israel Lieberman. He's done some fantastic work on phototherapy and archetypal healing and trauma healing, and the relationships between the colors of light and where you might be holding trauma related to archetypes. So that's just something to think about.